Welcome back to RMU Live. Today is Friday, November 22nd. I'm Isabella Harris.
And I am Brett McGulick. Breaking news, last night we officially saw our first snow flurries. To cover this, we're going to head it over to weather for Mintos.
Thank you, Brett. Yesterday, we saw our first snowfall start to flurry with the cold snowflakes melting into the warm embrace of the ground beneath it. The snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the king. Keeping that in mind, for all of the daring travelers attempting to travel home for Thanksgiving, I recommend checking to see if your flight has been delayed. For all those traveling by road, ensure to check road conditions before braving the cold landscape. I will have the complete 5-day forecast coming up later. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Mintos. Now let's head into some of the news.
Traveling for this Thanksgiving might be a little more chaotic this year than in the past. We're going to send it over to reporter Michael Yoshida for more on the story.
This year, AAA projecting record travel numbers across the board, and that includes the amount of people hitting the roads for Thanksgiving.
Across the country, Americans are gearing up to get out for the Thanksgiving holiday.
For the first time, we're looking at a 7-day travel window, starting on Tuesday before Thanksgiving and ending that Monday. And we're projecting nearly 80 million people are going to be traveling domestically during that time. This is going to be a new record.
Of that 80 million, 71.7 million people will be hitting the roads and taking advantage of lower gas prices. The national average last Thanksgiving Day was $3.26. This year, AAA says, barring disruptions from tropical storms, gas prices will continue to fall.
Gas prices are much lower than they were this time last year, and we could be seeing a national average around Thanksgiving that's below $3 a gallon, which we haven't seen since 2021.
So when should you hit the road? INRIX, a provider of transportation data and insights, says Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon are the worst times to travel by car. The best times to hit the road is Thanksgiving Day, when interstates and highways are typically clear and travelers won't clash with commuters. But no matter when you choose to travel, use caution.
AAA's biggest safety message is always slow down, move over. With an additional 1 million people on the roads, you're going to have more congestion, more cars, and unfortunately more emergencies.
And if you're planning to take a flight, be prepared for busy terminals. Air travel is also expected to set a new record, up more than 2% compared to last year.
Travel by other modes of transportation, that includes cruises, buses, as well as trains, also expected to rise this year. AAA saying that's fueled in part by a red-hot demand for cruises following the pandemic. AAA saying bookings for both domestic and international cruises up some 20% compared to last Thanksgiving. Reporting in Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Sounds like you might want to get ahead on your travel plans as soon as you can.
Are you enjoying what you're watching so far? Well, RMU Live comes to you weekly, as well as other shows highlighting news on campus across the world, and across the world. For sports fans, there's also content for you as well. Check out RMU-TV on YouTube and Facebook. All shows are produced and ran by students. Coming up after the break, WWE is taking over the White House? More about this when we come back from break, so don't go away.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
To get to know each other
on a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Following Trump putting together his administration, the former Florida Representative Matt Gaetz has been withdrawn from Trump's pick for Attorney General. Gaetz described the distraction of allegations of paying underage women for sex that came about that he was nominated. Gaetz said, quote, "There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I will be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one," end quote.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's main event is for the Department of Education. Linda McMahon looks to retain her title against the allegations. President-elect Donald Trump has appointed Linda McMahon, a wife of former chairman of WWE Vince McMahon, his new Department of Education. However, McMahon knowingly enabled the sexual exploitation of children by a WWE employee as early as in the 1980s. Allegations that she denies. McMahon is the former CEO of the WWE, which she co-founded with her husband. She stepped down in 2009 to run for Senate, but she lost in Connecticut in 2010 as well as 2012. The suit was filed in Baltimore County, Maryland, on the behalf of 5 John Does, who says they were ages 13 to 15 when they said they suffered mental and emotional abuse as a result of the alleged abuse by the McMahons.
President-elect Trump has named Dr. Mehmet Oz as the Administrator for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is a key federal agency that oversees the health insurance coverage for more than 150 million Americans. Trump said in a statement on Tuesday, quote, "I have known Dr. Oz for many years, and I am confident that he will fight to ensure everyone in America receives the best possible health care so that our country can be great and healthy again," end quote. Dr. Oz, who is a cardiothoracic surgeon and a television personality, lost the 2022 Pennsylvania Senate race to now Democratic Senator John Fetterman.
A California woman has accused Trump cabinet pick Pete Hegseth of sexual assault. According to a police report obtained by CNN, the report details conflicting accounts of the incident, with Hegseth claiming the encounter was consensual. Despite the allegations, Hegseth was not charged, and his attorney stated that the police found the claims to be false. Although the report does not confirm this, Hegseth later settled with the accuser, featuring the impact of the #MeToo movement on his career. The allegations could affect Hegseth's upcoming confirmation hearing as the Secretary of Defense. Taking things up to the sky, Donald Trump and the Elon Musk connection is growing stronger and stronger by the day. Ed Lavandera has more on this story.
3, 2, 1.
The president-elect watched the world's most powerful rocket launch. It's the 6th test flight for Elon Musk's Starship. Well, Trump and Musk have been inseparable in recent months.
Elon Musk is incredible, what he's done.
It's also a relationship intertwined with political interests.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
A star is born, Elon.
And both share a fascination with space travel.
We must become a multi-planet species.
We'll get Elon, get those rockets going.
The U.S. government has increasingly turned to Musk's SpaceX rockets for many commercial launches. SpaceX has some $4 billion in federal government contracts supporting NASA's Artemis program, which plans to put astronauts on the moon in 2026, and Starship's ultimate mission is to land on Mars. Donald Trump's return to the White House has emboldened Musk as the world's richest man engages in regulatory fights with the federal government agencies overseeing the SpaceX rocket launches.
We have liftoff.
Musk has called for the head of the Federal Aviation Administration to resign. The FAA is the agency which grants SpaceX approvals to launch its rockets. and Musk stands to gain even more influence from his rosy relationship with the president-elect.
Who else could do this kind of stuff?
But Musk's SpaceX has come under fire for environmental damage at the $3 billion launch site in Boca Chica, Texas. A Texas Environmental Commission fined SpaceX for spilling wastewater that seeped into wetlands near the company's launch pad. Musk responded on X to critics saying the launch destroyed 9 birds' nests and their eggs, posting, "To make up for this heinous crime, I will refrain from having an omelet for a week." The environmental and regulatory concerns come as SpaceX plans to dramatically ramp up launches.
I would not be surprised if we fly 400 Starship launches in the next 4 years.
For Boca Chica, that would be a worst-case scenario.
Jim Chapman is an activist working with a local environmental group to raise concerns about the impact of SpaceX in South Texas. He fears the incoming Trump administration will allow Musk and SpaceX to steamroll through regulations.
SpaceX is always in a big hurry and complains bitterly if they can't do things on their own schedule. He may now not just complain about it, but to weaken that oversight.
Musk's role in the future Trump administration could have lasting effects on the space industry, his personal fortunes,
Take over, Eli, just take over.
and on the environment for decades to come.
We would like to thank CNN for the coverage on that package. And it'll be interesting to see what the, quote, Gothic MAGA does next.
The International Criminal Court has issued multiple arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, as well as senior Hamas official accusing them of war crimes after the October 7th attacks on Israel last year. On Tuesday, a statement was released that the Netherlands-based court said that they found reasonable grounds to believe that Netanyahu is connected to criminal responsibility for war crimes. The ICC judges have 56 arrest warrants out for, along with 21 detention and appearances before the court.
Israeli airstrikes on northern and central Gaza have killed at least 87 Palestinians in the last 24 hours, rising the death toll to the enclave of over 44,000. Dr. Hussam Abu Safia from Kamal Adwan Hospital reported that 65 people were killed overnight in northern Gaza, with more casualties expected. He warned that the hospital could become a mass grave without urgent international intervention and medical supplies.
A Georgia judge on Wednesday reached a verdict for the murder of Augusta University student Laken Riley on the University of Georgia campus in February. Judge Patrick Haggard found Jose Ibarra guilty on 10 total counts, including 1 count of malicious murder, 3 counts of felony murder, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of aggravated assault with intent to rape, 1 count of aggravated battery, and 1 count of hindering a 911 call, another count of tampering with evidence, and another count of peeping Tom. Ibarra did plead guilty to all of these counts.
It's a new week, which means it's a new Diddy update. 5 new lawsuits have been filed against Sean Diddy Combs' alleged drugging and sexual assault by both male and female accusers. The incidents spanning from 2001 to 2022 reportedly took place in New York City, the Hamptons, and Miami. The accusers filing anonymously claim they were assaulted at parties hosted by Combs, including his 2004 white party. Combs' attorneys deny the allegations. Attorney Tony Busby, representing the accusers, plans to file more cases weekly. Combs now faces over 30 civil complaints.
Ford, a well-known car brand, is set to lay off 4,000 jobs in Europe in the next 3 years. The U.S. company stated on Wednesday that the cuts would be in full effect by the end of 2027, although pending consultations from labor unions and would be concentrated in Germany and the United Kingdom. Dave Johnston, Ford's European Vice President for Transportation and Partnerships, said, quote, "It is critical but difficult to take the decisive action to ensure Ford's future competitiveness in Europe," end quote. Biden gave Ukraine permission to use United States weapons in Russia. We're going to send it over to reporter Amy Kiley to hear more on the story.
It's definitely welcome news for the Ukrainians. Maybe a little bit too late for them.
President Joe Biden is giving Ukraine permission to use long-range U.S. weapons in Russia, according to 2 U.S. officials. Military experts say that could help Ukraine retain vital territory, but some observers worry about Russia's potential response.
Hits are not made with words. Such things don't need announcements. Missiles will speak for themselves.
One official says the Army tactical missile systems are primarily intended for use in the Kursk region for now. Allies hope Ukraine can hold on to it despite Moscow's deployment of about 50,000 troops there. That way, Ukraine can use it as a bargaining chip if peace talks occur.
It's not going to be a major game changer at the strategic level, but it could have strategic implications.
In September, the U.S. and U.K. debated letting Ukraine fire conventional Western missiles into Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin responded by saying Moscow could use nuclear weapons if that happened. He also said if a nuclear power supported an assault in his country, he'd consider that nation a joint attacker.
The worries have tended to be overblown. We hope we're not in some sort of war with Putin here.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
This is currently an ongoing story, and we will keep you updated with more.
Trying to eat away from that annoying uncle that you see once a year that knows nothing about your technology at Thanksgiving dinner? Well, RMU can help with that. Check out RMUcenturymedia.com to find the latest news, heartfelt articles, photo galleries, and more. All content is created by students.
We have local news in Pittsburgh for you whenever we come back on RMU Live.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
I can't wait to get back to field trips with my school.
Not having to think about putting on a mask.
I really can't wait to get back to life, really.
I miss all my friends. I miss taking pictures in school.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
COVID-19 vaccines are available, and they're the first step to safely getting back to things we miss most. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people.
It's time to make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines. The dangerous new Delta variant is more than twice as contagious as the original virus and can affect anyone. Right now, 9 out of 10 hospitalizations and deaths from COVID are among unvaccinated people. Getting vaccinated might save your life, and there's now an option that's fully approved by the FDA. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear, because for years he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to RMU Live. Let's take a look at some news around the burg.
A fire chief has died after suffering from a medical emergency at a house fire in Pittsburgh's East Hills on Wednesday night. Babylon Fire Chief John Walsh, 60, was rushed to the hospital from the scene, where he then passed away. Pittsburgh firefighters released a statement, quote, "He has unwavering passion for the job, and his courageous service and his remarkable leadership over the 37 years will not be forgotten. Chief Walsh embodied the very best of what it means to serve and protect," end quote. Walsh's final salute will be at 7 p.m. Sunday at the funeral service to follow on Monday at 10 a.m. at the St. Paul Cathedral.
Turns out that we may actually get some winter weather here in Pittsburgh. But the pretty snow flurries and that festive feel in the air may not be so good. Severe thunderstorms ran through the city on Wednesday night and knocked out power for thousands of people, and even caused a tornado. Jefferson Hills police say Old Clareton Road between Wickfield Road and Cole Valley Road and Chamberlain Road will be closed for, quote, an extended period, end quote, for multiple poles and wires being down in the street. The severe storms have expired, but many people are still without power at this time.
The Pennsylvania Senate race between incumbent Democrat Bob Casey and Republican challenger Dave McCormick is being recounted across the state. Any statewide race in Pennsylvania decided by 0.5 or less is automatically said to be recounted. McCormick has a 0.2 lead over Casey. The recount will be completed by noon on Tuesday, November 26th.
Tuesday night's Allegheny Council meeting was packed, with dozens moved in overflow space. This is in response to County Executive Sarah Mortado's first ever budget proposal, which included $2.2 million or 46.5% property tax increase, equating to about $180 more per year for the average homeowner. Supporters argue that the funds are crucial for the maintaining vital programs, while opponents believe the tax hike is too steep. The budget vote is set for December 3rd.
A Pittsburgh man is facing charges after police say he shot 4 people in Northview Heights earlier this month. 2 men and 1 woman were taken to the hospital. The woman was shot in the hip, while the other 2 men were shot in their shoulder and ankle. At a separate but connected scene, a man was found shot in the back of a crashed car, police said. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Ernest Terry is charged with criminal homicide, 5 counts of criminal attempted homicide and conspiracy to commit criminal homicide, possession of firearms to be carried out without a license.
3 people were arrested in Newcastle after police seized thousands of dollars in drugs and guns from a home in East Washington Street. Officers were set to arrest Nathan Smith II for a parole violation, but he ran inside, prompting police to force entry. Inside, they found Jacob Brown, who was caught with a large sum of money, a gun, and Joseph Phillips, who was found with more money. The search uncovered a total of $27,044, 3 guns, and 1,266 grams of marijuana, 20 grams of psychedelic mushrooms, and 21 suitcases. All 3 men face multiple charges.
1 person was taken to the hospital following a crash in Beaver County on Wednesday evening. Beaver County 911 confirmed just after 7 p.m. the police were called to the 1000th block of Monaca Road after reports of a vehicle crash. The vehicle did end up catching on fire. They do not know what led to the crash at this time, as the story is ongoing.
Officers are investigating a case after a vehicle crashed into an apartment complex on Tuesday evening. Pittsburgh police and first responders arrived at Baum Boulevard and Liberty Avenue at 5:30 p.m. to find an SUV on the sidewalk, which has hit a tree, a utility pole, and a pedestrian. The driver, who claimed the gas pedal got stuck, was extracted and taken to the hospital, along with the passenger. The pedestrian was also hospitalized.
Former late-night television host Jay Leno was injured last week as he fell down a hillside before a show in the Pittsburgh area. Leno arrived at his show with an eye patch, a broken wrist, and a bruised face. The former Tonight Show host explained to Inside Edition that he was on his way to dinner before the show, and he wanted to take a shortcut down a hillside where he fell nearly 60 feet and was hit by many rocks. He later performed at the show that evening. It has been a super eventful week in RMU sports. We're going to send it over to Peyton to hear more.
Thanks, guys. This has been a history-making week for Colonial sports. Saturday started out rough as RMU football faced a heart-wrenching 35-33 double overtime loss to Central Connecticut State on November 16th. Despite leading by 14 points in the fourth quarter, RMU couldn't hold off the Blue Devils' comeback. Standout performances included Rob Carter Jr.'s 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and 50-yard interception return for another score. Carter's exceptional play earned him the NEC Special Teams Player of the Week honor. A tough loss, but a valiant effort by the Colonials. In a historic achievement, RMU men's soccer team has clinched their first Horizon League championship with a 1-0 victory over top-seeded Oakland on November 16th. Victor Thompson netted the decisive goal in the 9th minute, assisted by Anas Hadran and Chase Gilly. This win earned the Colonials an automatic berth in the 2024 NCAA tournament, where they'll face Michigan in the opening round. It's a huge milestone for the program as RMU looks to make a splash on the national stage. Be sure to stay tuned for updates about the tournament at rmucenturymedia.com. Now, on to women's basketball. The Colonials suffered a narrow 58-55 defeat at home against St. Francis on November 20th. Despite a strong effort, RMU couldn't overcome the Red Flash's late game surge. Natalie Johnson, who played her first 2 seasons at Robert Morris, was a standout player on Wednesday. She scored 10 points for St. Francis, firmly sealing the Colonials' fate. The team now holds a 2-2 record as they prepare for their upcoming road games. Coming up this week, football faces off against Stonehill here in Moon Township at noon on Saturday. Later on, women's basketball hopes to bounce back in a crosstown rivalry game at Duquesne on Wednesday. That's all for Colonial Sports, sending it right back to the desk.
We want to wish all the teams playing this week the best of luck in their games.
Trying to figure out what to wear for this Thanksgiving dinner? Do you need a winter coat? Are the roads going to be cleared for you to get there? Mintos has all the answers for us when we come back on RMU Live. I just set you up, bro.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Yeah, it's going to be weather.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
Welcome back to RMU Live. We're going to send it over to Mintos to hear about the weather.
Thank you, Brett. Do you want to build a snowman? That is the question that you will not be asking over the next 5 days. If we look at today's forecast, we have a high of 45, a low of 42, and an 86% chance of humidity with a 96% chance of precipitation. Tomorrow's high, we have a high of 46, a low of 39, and an 82% humidity with a 50% chance of precipitation. And then our hourly, if we look at our hourly, at 3 p.m. we have 41 degrees. At 6 p.m. we have 44 degrees. And then at 9 p.m. we have 45 degrees. If we look at Sunday, the high will be going to 48 degrees with a low of 39. We have Monday with a high of 55 and a low of 41. On Tuesday, we have a high of 45 and a low of 30. And then on Wednesday, we'll have a high of 43 and a low of 29. And if the Thanksgiving stress is starting to become overwhelming, don't forget to let it go, and know that you are the one, you are with the wind in the sky. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Mintos, and thank you for watching RMU Live.
We hope you have a great Thanksgiving break.
We will see you soon.
What the hell is that?